So first of all, I'm very bullish on the aspiration of getting to 5 trillion plus economy. Just setting the context, right? If you look at 2014, we were about a 1.7 trillion. Today we are about 2.7 trillion, and the aspiration is to double that, right? As you stated, 8% real GDP. I think there are 5 imperatives which will get us there. First is the investment rate. I think today we are about at 29%. I think we need to get into the mid-30s, because if you look at all economies who have grown at 8%, it has been an investment-driven economy. Yeah. Second is consumer savings rate. Again, we are about 29, 30%. I think that needs to go to about a 40% rate. Third, and a very important part, is for us to become an export-driven economy. Almost 1 trillion of that 5 trillion likely can come from export. I know there are productivity and there's other things we need to go in to get that. And the fourth and the fifth are very interrelated, which is really what we do as GoDaddy. The digitization and a small business and the jobs, right? I just want to share the stats, right? There are about 7 billion people around the world, about 3.5 billion are employed. Out of which Fortune 500 or even Fortune 1000 companies employ less than 50 million people. So where are the rest of the 2.8 billion people working? Either they're entrepreneurs, small business, or doing something, in a much smaller space. So our ability to be able to create, and stimulate that ecosystem is going to go a long way, especially around the women, right? If you get to the global 48% women employability, that alone is close to $700 billion of input into the economy.
But Nikhil, where are the jobs going to come? Jobs will come with investment. Investment has to come with money. We don't have enough financial resources. Financial savings are only 11% of GDP. From now till 2025 to go to 5 trillion, we have to invest 30% of GDP. 30% of GDP per year is around $3.75 trillion. Now, unless we open up to foreign capital, go to Japan, borrow $500 billion in the next 5 years, as Prime Minister Modi did for that, bullet train project, at a 0.5% interest payable after 30 years or 50 years, when some of us may not be around. So how can you achieve that unless you open up and do something dramatic?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's all about cost of capital, right? Today, I think the cost of capital in our country is fairly high, and this is a great example as to, getting that in at a very, very favorable rate, right? Secondly, I think, we have done a wonderful job getting into ease of doing business, moved 79 by 79 ranks. One thing I think which we can really move the needle is enforcement of contracts. Today, we rank 163rd out of...
The courts don't work.
Sorry?
The courts don't work.
Yeah,
what do you do?
There are 35 million cases out there.
Yes, what do we do? Appoint triple the number of judges in 1 year?
Yeah, I think those are the structural reforms, what you're mentioning, and Mr. Kant was mentioning that. I think some of them are already in place, but that alone itself will improve the productivity and efficiency. But I think there's no better expert in education than you in terms of job being created, right? I mean, today our gross enrollment rate is 25%. If you look back 5-6 years back, it was 12%. So I think the further that moves, the more entrepreneurs, more small businesses will create, and I think that could be a great source of employability.